Ernest Bourne, born Hermes Ephron Borgino on January 24, 1917, in Hamden, Connecticut, was a larger-than-life character on and off the screen. He was the son of Italian immigrants Anna and Camillo Borgino, and was raised with traditional values of hard work, honesty, and resilience, which would later shape his career and public persona. His parents split up when he was a child, and he lived in Italy for a while before moving back to the United States. Before he became an actor, Borgnine had a life of great service and patriotism. In 1935, he joined the U.S. Navy and served for almost 10 years, including during World War II. His loyalty to his country was unwavering, and he rose to the rank of gunner's mate first class. The discipline, camaraderie, and experiences he gained in the military left a lasting impression on him and greatly influenced his career. Even after becoming famous, Borgnine was very proud of his time in the Navy and was often seen in public wearing his military cap. After the war, Borgnine was at a crossroads in his life. He had never been to acting school before, but he bravely pursued a new dream and enrolled in the Rand School of Dramatic Art in Hartford, Connecticut. He started his career on stage in local theater productions, but his big break came when he switched to movies and got a part in the 1953 critically acclaimed movie From Here to Eternity. He played the sadistic Sergeant Fatso Judson in a supporting role. This performance made him a powerful screen presence and led to many opportunities in Hollywood. In 1955, Borgnine received the highest praise when he starred as the title character in Marty, a movie about a kind-hearted but lonely Bronx butcher. This role showed his gentle, vulnerable side, which was very different from his earlier, tougher roles. In recognition of his outstanding performance, Marty won the Palme d'Or Award at the Cannes Film Festival, and Borgnine was praised around the world for his ability to portray the average man with respect, warmth, and depth. Over the next few decades, Bourne had an incredibly busy and varied career, appearing in over 200 movies and TV shows spanning dramas, comedies, westerns, and war movies. Notable films included The Dirty Dozen, 1967, and The Wild Bunch, 1979. He brought heart and authenticity to every role, no matter how small. His deep voice, gap-toothed smile, and hearty laugh made him an instantly recognizable and beloved figure in American culture. Borg also had a lot of success on TV. Perhaps his most famous role was as the lovable and unconventional Lieutenant Commander Quentin McCall on the 1960s show McCall's Navy. As this character, he was able to show off his comedic skills. He later voiced Mermaid Man in the animated series SpongeBob SquarePants, which introduced him to a new generation of fans and showed how versatile and long-lasting his appeal was. Aside from his professional achievements, Ernest Borgnine was admired for his kindness, humility, and boundless enthusiasm for life. He was known for being approachable and never let fame change him. He often went to fan conventions and public events and always made time to talk to fans. Stayed in the entertainment business well into his 90s, which shows how much he loved telling stories and performing. Ernest Bourne's personal life was just as colorful and eventful as his long and successful acting career. He was married 5 times, and each marriage showed a different part of his life and the man behind the roles. His first marriage was to Roa Kemans in 1949, whom he met while serving in the U.S. Navy, where he had a distinguished career before becoming an actor. Kemans was a Navy hospital records technician, and their shared experience in the military probably led to their early relationship. They were married for almost 10 years, ending in 1958. During that time, they had one daughter, Nancy, who was born on May 28, 1952. Even though they divorced, Borgnine remained close to his daughter and kept in touch with her throughout his life. He was just starting to become famous in Hollywood after his big break in Marty, 1955, which won him the Academy Award for Best Actor. Soon after his divorce from Clemens, Borgnine married Katy Jurado, a famous Mexican actress who had made a name for herself in both Mexican movies and Hollywood. They got married in 1959, and while their relationship was glamorous, it was also rocky. Jurado was known for her fiery personality and striking presence on screen. She was a strong woman who shared Nine's feelings. They shared many interests, including acting, but their different cultures, busy careers, and moody personalities probably made the relationship difficult. After 4 years of marriage, they got a divorce in 1963, ending a chapter full of both love and emotional conflict. Borg's third marriage was probably the most famous. In 1964, he married Ethel Merman, a legendary Broadway star known for her powerful voice and strong will. Their short and rocky union became Hollywood legend. Lasted only 42 days, which was so short that it became the subject of jokes in the entertainment industry. Merman herself wrote about the marriage in her autobiography, but she left a whole page blank to represent it, which said a lot about how she felt about it. The relationship was marked by constant fighting and ego clashes. Borgnine's friend and co-star Tim Conway later said this about the doomed couple: "Ernie is volatile, I mean that's a given, and Ethel was a very strong woman. If you put 2 bombs in a room, something is bound to go off, and I think it probably did." Their relationship was a classic example of two larger-than-life personalities who, while maybe drawn to each other's energy, just couldn't live together peacefully. His fourth marriage to Donna Rancourt began in 1965 and ended in 1972. This one, unlike the others, seemed to bring more stability and home life for Borgnine. With Rancourt he had 3 children: Sharon, born August 5, 1965, Christopher, born August 9, 1969, and Diana, born December 29, 1965, all in the 1970s. During this time, Borgnine was at the height of his TV career, starring in the hit sitcom Male's Navy. Despite his busy filming schedule and public life, he tried to be involved in his children's upbringing. However, the pressures of fame and his personal nature may have caused the marriage to end in 1972. Ernest Borgn's fifth and final marriage was to Tove Tresne, a Norwegian-born businesswoman and the founder of the beauty company Tove Cosmetics. They got married on February 24, 1973, and unlike his other marriages, this one lasted. The couple was completely devoted to each other for almost 40 years until Borgnine's death in 2012. Tove often accompanied Borg to public events and was a strong supporter of his career, especially in his later years. Their long-lasting relationship showed how stable Borg's personal life eventually became. Tove became famous for her work on QVC and her beauty products, and the two often talked about their love and partnership with great affection. Their long-lasting marriage showed a sense of peace and companionship that Borgnine had not had earlier in life. Notably, he was a heavy smoker for most of his life. He admitted that he smoked several packs a day until 1962, when he quit for health reasons. His decision to quit smoking was a big deal, especially given the times and the pressures of the Hollywood lifestyle. Quitting probably helped him live longer, as he worked and appeared in movies and TV shows well into his 90s. And find stability in his final marriage shows how much he has grown and changed as a person. Ernest Borgnine was famous in Hollywood for more than just his commanding screen presence and gruff voice. He was also known for his outspoken personality and tendency to say what he thought without sugar-coating it. He was loved by many for being honest and respected for his long, hard-earned career in film and TV. But behind the scenes, no one made him more angry than fellow actor Tony Curtis. While Borgnine rarely held grudges in his life in later years, there was something about Curtis that bothered him, and it lasted for decades. The The tension between the two actors is said to have started in the 1950s, when they were both very popular. Borgnine had just won the Academy Award for Marty 1955, a humble, heartfelt movie that praised the average working-class man. Curtis, on the other hand, was becoming famous for his good looks, flashy roles, and glamorous Hollywood life. Borgnine was a Navy veteran who had worked his way up from small roles to he didn't like Curtis's actions because they seemed shallow and were meant to get attention. He saw Curtis as everything he didn't like about Hollywood: style over substance, ego over humility. His dislike grew when the two were cast together in The Vikings 1958, a movie starring Kirk Douglas, Janet Leigh, and a young Tony Curtis. Behind the scenes, Borgnine reportedly got tired of Curtis's overly concerned behavior with his looks and screen time. Borgnine, who was a consummate professional who didn't have time for vanity or on-set drama, found Curtis's attitude irritating. He thought Curtis was cocky and only interested in himself, and the two men's working relationship became tense. Cast and crew members would later talk about the awkward silences between takes and the occasional fights that had to be broken up by the director. Their dislike for each other grew stronger over the years. Borgnine often played tough men. Off-screen, he also valued toughness and authenticity. He thought it was strange that someone like Curtis, who often chose lighter or more glamorous roles, was being praised as a Hollywood icon. To Borgnine, Curtis represented everything fake about the entertainment business, and he thought Curtis lacked the depth or character to really understand the kinds of roles Borgnine had mastered. While Curtis rarely talked about Ernest in public, Ernest never shied away from voicing his opinion. In interviews, he insiders and longtime fans often thought he was referring to Curtis when he made subtle jabs at unnamed actors who cared more about their hair than their craft, or who showed up late and thought the world would revolve around them. He said more than once that there were a few actors in Hollywood he would never work with again, and Tony Curtis was always thought to be at the top of that list, even decades later, when most old rivalries had turned into nostalgia, or even though Ernest Borgne was polite when talking about most of his contemporaries. There was a noticeable change in his tone when Curtis's name came up, if he acknowledged it at all. It was one of the few feuds in Borgne's long and interesting career that never ended. In a business built on masks and short-lived friendships, Borgne's anger toward Curtis was unusual in how long it lasted and how strongly it was held. In the end, Ernest Borgne's feud with Tony Curtis was more than just a joke. There was a deeper rift between two very different ideas of what it meant to be an actor. Borgnine believed in discipline, humility, and hard work. Curtis, with his matinee idol image and tabloid-ready persona, stood for a flashier, more self-promoting style of stardom. For Borgnine, that wasn't just a difference in taste. It was an insult to everything he stood for. That's why he saw Tony Curtis as more than just another difficult co-star. He hated him more than anyone else. American actor who was famous for his gap-toothed grin, commanding screen presence, and wide range of acting roles, died on July 8, 2012, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, California. The hospital is famous for treating many famous people and celebrities. The cause of death was renal failure, a condition in which the kidneys lose their ability to remove waste and keep the body's fluids and electrolytes in balance. Renal failure is often linked to old age, and in Borg's case, it was the end of a long, full life that had spanned almost 100 years and included both fame in Hollywood and honorable service in the military. In the month before he died, Borg had surgery. The exact nature of the surgery was not made public, but it was clear that his health had been getting worse during that time. Despite his age and fragile condition, he had stayed relatively active in public life, making appearances, and he did interviews well into his 90s, which shows how much he loved acting and interacting with fans. A few days before he died, he went back to the hospital for what was said to be a routine checkup. This visit shows how quickly his health got worse, which caught many fans and admirers by surprise. After he died, Ernest Borgnine was cremated according to his wishes and those of his family. He was a proud veteran of the U.S. Navy, where he served with honor for 10 years. Before he started acting, he was given a military funeral. This ceremony recognized both his decades of service to his country in World War II and his contributions to the film and TV industries. The military funeral included traditional honors like folding and presenting the American flag, playing taps, and probably a ceremonial salute. These actions showed how much respect people had for Borgnine as an actor, a patriot, and a veteran. His funeral brought together many of Ernest Borgnine's friends, family, co-workers, and admirers remembered him not only for his famous roles in movies like Marty, for which he won an Academy Award, but also for his kindness, humor, and unwavering dedication to his craft. Even after he died, his legacy continued to shine as a symbol of strength, generosity, and timeless talent. Tributes came from all corners of the entertainment world, and his memory will live on in the hearts of fans everywhere.
And